Welcome to the Business Technology Podcast, where we simplify tech for business owners who don't have time to waste. I'm Scott.
And I'm Alec.
Every week, we break down practical tools, smart strategies, and real-world stories that help your business work better. Let's dive into today's episode.
We're talking about comfort today.
Yeah, which is a funny topic because we're both quite tall. Alec, how tall are you?
6'3". And how tall are you, Scott?
I'm 6'10". So
I don't get to feel short very often, but
no, I've been dealing with ergonomics and desks and chairs also,
and lower back pain
for a long time. So hopefully some of our extreme use case can provide some insight into what you're doing at your own workstation or what you're providing for your employees, because this matters. I mean, discomfort can lead to lack of productivity, as well as things like poor eyesight, arthritis. I mean, the physical things that actually may take you out of work. For people who work in front of a computer 8 hours a day, it can actually be a huge health risk. I mean, sitting all the time, typing things out.
The strain on your eyes.
The list goes on. We don't have to tell you about the risks associated. What we want to do is tell you about how you can maybe make some changes to what you're currently doing to be a little bit better. So we did a lot of research on this. We got some stats. There were some funny stories. I read about this law firm that was able to reduce sick days by 15% by giving all their employees a laptop with a stand-up desk. And they were trying this like 28-2 rule where they would sit for 20 minutes, stand for 8, and then just walk around or do whatever for another 2 minutes, or they can kind of reassess. And they felt like that was great for their blood flow, walking around. I mean, I've personally tried to do longer stints of standing, a couple hours, and I've even experimented with one of those walking pads, like a walking treadmill. And, I actually found that I was able to go for like a very long time, and I was actually kind of tired by the end of it and did want to sit and focus. And I found that once I started operating with personally like a stand-up desk and I had that flexibility, it really kind of unlocked this sort of productivity hack for my brain. Like I knew that, hey, if I wanted to quote unquote sit down and focus, I know that I would have a good 45-minute hour session where I could sit and really hammer out stuff like a lot of typing, or a lot of like thought dumping, where I know that when I'm standing, I feel like I'm more open. I feel like I can do research on lots of screens. I feel like I have a little bit quicker flow when I'm trying to like process information, but I'm not like hammering out notes. I'm not like hammering out, a new policy or something like that. So
and for someone on my end on sales, standing really changes just your tone of voice, the way you kind of come across. I'm someone who walks around when I speak a lot, and sitting down and spinning in a chair, that doesn't necessarily work. Right. So even in a sales environment, being able to stand up and kind of give you that mental break of sitting down in front of a screen really is important.
Yeah, I mean, like imagine trying to ride a bike and you had like the seat super low and your knees were at like a 90 degree. You're trying to pedal, like it would be impossible, or if you couldn't reach the handlebars because they were like super far out in front of you, or the bike was the wrong size. We'd obviously change that out. I mean, we wouldn't even give it a second thought, but we go to work and we have our chair and we have our desk, and it's the same for every single person. What do you do about it? I mean, you just like deal with it? Do you lean closer to the screen because your text is small? I mean, that's a little pet peeve of mine actually. When, speaking of ergonomics, when people have too small of a display, too small of a monitor, I mean, we're looking at so much information nowadays, and we have these really complex tools and dashboards in front of us. You need like a reasonably sized display with a reasonably sized scale. If you hit Windows plus the U key on your keyboard, you can access the accessibility shortcut on your Windows device. And right there, you can see things like mouse size. You can see things like text size. And I've reached over so many people's shoulder when I'm walking through the office because I'm like, I cannot even read this text. How do you read it? No wonder you have like prescription 5 glasses or whatever it is. I don't wear glasses, so I don't know what the reference mark is. But they're hunched over. They're trying to read the screen when it's so small. So you can just bump the scale up to 200%. Oh, now I can read it from a comfortable upright eye level position. So like if we got into kind of like the specific of like how you would want that ergonomic setup, you typically want your eye line at like the middle to 2/3 of the way up in the screen. So if your monitor stand doesn't go high enough to get with your eye level, that's kind of a good reason to consider having monitor arms. That has a little more flexibility. You can get those higher up, you can get those down low, depending on like the height of the person. But if you had that option at all your desk for your employees, they could customize it to like the actual seating height. So you had that in combination with like some nice chairs. So we at ITS, we all invested in Secret Lab chairs, and those have the option to do like XL size. So anyone above 6 foot has an XL chair, which is like way bigger and way more comfortable. It's the first chair I ever found that I actually could like get comfortable in and actually not have my feet like almost to a point where they're almost dangling. Which has never existed. So find a chair that, you know, and invest in that, because you're sitting on it. It's like people say invest in your bed because you're spending a third of your life on it. Probably invest in that work setup. Like, just want to drill it home. So we invested in nice chairs, and it was like the number one most commented thing with new employees. Like, they really appreciated like the care that we gave to making sure that their work environment was set up. I mean, we offer a whole different array of different keyboard options depending on the preference of the user. I personally use like a scroll mouse with a scroll ball. That way I'm not even actually moving my right hand. I like to keep my wrist as upright as possible, which is kind of a more ergonomic position rather than just using the classic old school hand down mouse. If you're finding that you have a lot of wrist pain in your right or left hand or whatever your mouse hand is, you should consider moving to like a Logitech like MX series or another ergonomic style mouse. If you know, just look up your favorite brand.
It was a game changer for me when I switched over. My hand cramps kind of stopped, and I've had it now for 2 or 3 years. It's a good mouse just for, you know, just other functionality points, but it also just really helps your hand at the end of the day as well by quite a dramatic amount.
Dude, just don't be complacent like with what you have, and don't be afraid to ask like your boss or whoever like for a better setup, or just get it yourself.
And not to say that people, you know, leave because they're physically uncomfortable, but it's going to be considerably cheaper to provide a, you know, ergonomic and more comfortable environment than to replace employees if they feel like they just don't want to work somewhere because they're constantly in physical pain. And to replace an employee, I think it's on average about 1.5 times their salary. I don't know any stand-up desks that that cost that much, but if we can keep them comfortable, sometimes we can keep them longer.
That I mean, hopefully, I would say that that's definitely a good incentive. And I've like being in the IT space too. You see a lot of the actual physical ailments associated with looking at a screen constantly. I mean, it's kind of like the stereotype, like the IT person, they push their glasses up when they show up to look at your computer because they look at a screen all the freaking time, and that blue light can like burn into your eyes. People have tried like, you know, blue light glasses. You can also set the tone on your screen to be more of like a red amber in the evening.
Like the night mode,
Yeah, night mode. I think there's like, you know, there's different names for that, or night shift. But you should do anything and everything you can to make that technology work for you. I mean, that's what technology is really here for, not the other way around. We're not supposed to be the slave to it, hunched over, physically feeling the pain of trying to get these ideas into this machine, because we're dealing with all the inefficiencies of this, you know, human computer interaction of having to type, and it's all clunky.
And there's so many personalized options out there now. I mean, practically anyone can find something comfortable for them nowadays.
I think I saw a recent, a Meta product release where they're coming out with like a bracelet or something that allows you to kind of type with just gestures on your hand, or some kind of brain control process. I mean, that's what they were trying to do with Neuralink as well, as put a Bluetooth chip in your brain so that you could send commands to a machine, whether that's like typing or your thought process. You know, that's a great way to eliminate that archaic sort of interaction with the current workstation, which is mouse and keyboard and sitting at a desk.
Well, at least get an ergonomic keyboard. I believe you have an ergonomic keyboard as well, where it's kind of that split setup.
Oh, love it. Sometimes you hand it to people and they're like, I could not type on this. And, you know, it's
that was me.
Like, it's kind of,
I'll admit.
It's kind of spread out a little bit in the middle. You know, it's really high in the middle. Imagine you kind of like have a mound in front of you. So your thumbs are up really high, your pinkies are down low, kind of keeping your wrists in a more upright position. I just found I never had pain again. I was able to type a lot faster. This just overall great improvement. So I had to get that keyboard everywhere I worked. You know, I have it set at home. I have it at my office. I might even, you know, take it with me on vacation instead of using my laptop, because moving back to the flat typing laptop is almost become painful, and difficult. So, you know, once you go ergonomic, you never go back, but encourage you to try it. looking at a decent chair, something that is really going to support you, that has the lumbar adjustment, has obviously the height adjustment, but some even have the front and back seat adjustment so that you can make sure that, hey, you're kind of in an upright position, your chin is up, your monitor arms have your monitor at a high enough level so you're not down, and then your arms are kind of resting below you, also at a 90 degrees, kind of at a relaxed bent, but you're not reaching out too far in front, you're not slammed up close like a dinosaur. That's going to put you probably from a doctor's perspective in the best position to kind of minimize those health risks associated with sitting all the time. Don't offer your employees poor work setups. Invest into higher quality displays so that they can see the information better. Invest in options for ergonomic keyboards and mouse. Provide different options because not everyone's going to like the same level of ergonomics. If someone's been typing for 20, 30 years one way, they're going to have a harder time committing to that like ergonomic look. So consider that, but go to Best Buy. There's a whole line of keyboards you can just put your wrist on and pretend to be typing out on and see if that feels right to you. And use the accessibilities on your machine to resize your display so that you can zoom in. And an extra pro tip, because I see a lot of people losing track of their mouse, me included, is to bump up that pointer size and make it like a bright color. Make it orange, make it teal, make it like size 30. But that little teeny tiny little mouse cursor can get lost when we're using multiple displays and we have that third monitor and where is it? Oh, now it's here. Okay. Bump it up, make things easier for you. But just think about how you can make the technology more comfortable so that you don't have that burnout, you don't have that physical pain, and
like you said, make the tech work for you, not the other way around.
And I guess maybe as a last little tip you could do is in your calendar, set a little stretching reminder. So
definitely
maybe twice a day, 10 a.m. or 10:15 or sometime in the afternoon, set a little reminder to get up and stretch.
Yeah, you can do it in your teams too. I've seen different organizations where they have like the teams everyone chat, and they go, okay, at X, and X today, we're going to stand for 10 minutes. And it kind of just promotes more, again, just organizational, not awareness, but just a mental break and better health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we can care a little bit more about our physical hygiene, hopefully it relays into everything else.
Yeah, because what were the times that Dr. Pepper had said were the most unproductive hours? Was it 10, 2, and 4 p.m., I believe, or the 3 times a day? Something along those. But if maybe we can stand up on the days that we've scientific, or the times that we've been proven to be the least productive and the most distracted, it's probably a good time to stand.
There you go. Well, go out and hack it, and invest in some setups.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week. So that's it for today's episode of the Business Technology Podcast. Our goal is simple: to be your go-to resource for all things business technology. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you'd like more information about ITS, you can find us on Instagram at ITS Telecom, or you can find us on LinkedIn at Integrated Telemanagement Services. Both are linked in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on a later episode.